When I was young and I started modeling, I had barely started. I was in Paris. I had just moved to Paris, and there was this guy on MySpace. To tell you how long ago it was, a guy on MySpace told me that he wanted to meet me and he thought I had a good look. We had a coffee. It was an older man, American. Remember, we're in France. And he said, you have a good look, blah, blah, blah. We had a few coffees, we became friends. He was gay, and I think he liked me. But it doesn't really matter. He was a good guy. And he worked in films. Not really, he was working in music, in like the film industry. And he used to live in New York, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, little by little, we started having coffees and restaurants. And after 2, 3, 4 meetings, we became friends. And he said, you know what? I talked about you to this friend of mine who's a massive agent in New York. And I was like, what? He said, he thinks you have something, and when a guy like that says that, you should go. Next thing you know, I had no money, but next thing you know, I used my last pennies to go to New York at 20. I was 20 years old. I went to New York, and I see this guy. Big, fat guy, American. But he liked me. He said I had a good look. And he said, you know what? I'm going to set you up nicely. You're going to be sleeping over at my apartment for the beginning. And then I'm going to organize a photo shoot with this amazing photographer that I know. He's going to do it for free. But first, let's just show you Manhattan a little bit. We went to see Manhattan and we saw some people. We saw some up-and-coming actors. We had dinner with them. He said, come with me. I met them. And I was just like, wow, am I going to be an up-and-coming actor right away? Thanks to this guy? This is my big break? And then we went to his place, and I saw on the walls pictures of him with like Harrison Ford and famous actors, John Travolta, and there were like notes of them saying, thank you for my career. And I was like, is this real? But then he started saying, you want to have a massage? And I said, I'm good. Little by little, all right, just rub my shoulder if you want, because he was insisting. So he did, and eventually he said, you'd be more comfortable in a towel, you know? I was like, no, you know. He was a bit, he didn't like that. We went to have dinner again with other people, and then the next day, so I slept over at his place, and I had my own room, but I was feeling a bit uncomfortable because this guy, I already knew he liked me, and it was a bit creepy. But then, the next day, I went to the photo shoot that he organized for me. And that photo shoot was with a famous photographer. I went to see his website. And this guy asked me to pose, and I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. Here I am posing. Next thing you know, he says, just take off the pants. I'm in my underwear, shooting. Then he says, take off the underwear. And I did. I took it off. I regret it to this day. The pictures never resurfaced, but I felt ashamed. I felt a bit betrayed that he sent me to this shit photo shoot. And I was not feeling good. And then after the shoot, I went to meet with the guy, the same guy, and he said, how was the shoot? I said, he said, well, that's how it is in this industry, you know? And so I was just not feeling good at all. I went to walk around New York alone, to try to digest what just happened. And I was so scared. My career hasn't not even started yet, and I already have weird pictures that might resurface at some point. But then, eventually, went back to his place. We had dinner, just him and I this time. And then after, I went to sleep. And when I went to sleep, what happened was I was in my room and I was like not feeling really safe, so I locked the door. And in the middle of the night, I hear a sound, and I see the door hinge moving, like he's trying to get in. And I'm like, oh my god! I was frozen in my bed. The guy, keep in mind, this guy was like 80, I was 78. This creepy fat guy, rich, powerful, and he didn't insist. I was just like in my bed like that. He didn't do anything. And the next morning, I decided to cut my trip short and leave and go back to Paris. And that was my first experience with New York. Thank God, years later I moved there as a model, successful model with a visa and everything, and I was able to make Manhattan a good memory again, but never heard from the guy again. When I was back, I went to see my friend and I said, what was that? What was that? And I explained to him what he did. He was so sorry. He said, I apologize. I'm gonna cut ties with him. So sorry he did that to you. He meant it, I think. We stayed friends. Don't see this guy anymore, but at the time, still kept seeing him for a little bit. But yeah,